Get ready for a chilling deep dive because today we're tackling Shirley Jackson's We Have Always Lived in the Castle. And you've really outdone yourselves this time with the source material. Character analyses, context, plot summaries, symbolism, major themes, you name it.
It's a book that stays with you, you
Yeah.
know? It's not just about the scares, though there are plenty of those.
Yeah.
It really gets under your skin and makes you think about family, about society, about just how much we're willing to shut out to feel safe.
Oh, absolutely. And speaking of shutting things out, that's where we meet Merritt and Constance Blackwood, right? These two sisters living in this, well, you described it as a crumbling mansion.
Classic Gothic setting right there, isn't
Yeah.
it? Isolated, falling apart, full of secrets. You can practically hear the wind howling through those broken windows just from the descriptions.
It's like Jackson took all those classic Gothic elements, the creepy old houses, the whispers of something being wrong, even rumors of witchcraft, and just wove them into this story that feels both timeless and completely unsettling.
Exactly. And that sense of unease, that's what draws you in. You know something is off from the get-go, but you can't quite put your finger on it.
Especially with Merritt, right? I mean, she's 18, but your character analysis really highlighted how she fluctuates between acting like a child and then having these incredibly insightful, even disturbing thoughts.
It's that blend of innocence and darkness that makes her such a compelling narrator. You're never quite sure how much to trust her, which is, of course, the point.
Totally. Like that detail you pulled out about her likes and dislikes. She lists Constance, Richard Plantagenet, who we'll definitely get to later, and, wait for it, Amanita phalloides.
The death cup mushroom.
Yeah, the deadly poisonous mushroom. It's like she's listing her favorite ice cream flavors and throws in a lethal toxin for good measure.
Like a casual Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
But that's Jackson for you, always keeping the reader on edge. That one little detail speaks volumes about Merritt's character and her skewed perception of the world.
It's a brilliant use of foreshadowing, too, because, and I don't think this is a spoiler since it comes out pretty early in the book, but she's the one who poisoned her family.
Ah, yes, the poisoning. You definitely highlighted that in your notes, and for good reason. It's such a pivotal moment in the story, and it really sets the stage for all the twisted family dynamics that unfold. Food, which should be a symbol of nourishment and love, becomes almost weaponized.
Totally. It's like Constance's cooking, which you pointed out, is
Yeah.
her way of caring for Merritt, of creating a safe space for them. And then you have Merritt, who uses sugar, something sweet and seemingly innocent, to devastating effect.
It's a stark contrast, and it speaks to the duality of their personalities, their roles within the family, everything. And, speaking of family dynamics, I was fascinated by your research on patriarchal figures and the impact they have on the sisters, even after death.
Oh, yeah. It's almost like Charles, the cousin who shows up and inserts himself into their lives, becomes a stand-in for Merritt's father, John, in a way. Both obsessed with control, with imposing their will on the women around them.
And it's against that backdrop of male dominance that the theme of female agency really starts to take shape. Think about it. Merritt and Constance have created this little world for themselves, this bubble where they make the rules. It's unconventional, sure, maybe even a little bit eerie, but it's theirs. And you can't help but wonder if that fierce need to protect their autonomy, their way of life, is what ultimately drives Merritt to such extremes.
And it's fascinating how that power struggle, that push and pull between control and freedom, plays out against the backdrop of, well, you mentioned the Salem witch trials.
Oh, absolutely. Your research on that was spot on. It's like Jackson took that historical context, the fear, the suspicion, the condemnation of women who didn't fit in, and wove it into the very fabric of the story.
Totally, because you can see those parallels, right? The way Merritt is so connected to nature, her little rituals, the way the townspeople view her with this mix of fascination and dread.
It's like she becomes this embodiment of female power, but a power that's misunderstood, feared. And that fear, that suspicion, it's what fuels the fire, so to speak.
Because it pushes Merritt further into this corner, right? Like her actions, however extreme, are a form of self-preservation, a way of controlling the narrative in a world that's constantly trying to control her.
Exactly. And that's where the symbolism of the Blackwood Mansion, which you brilliantly unpacked in your analysis, becomes even more layered. It's both a refuge, a sanctuary for the sisters, and this kind of gilded cage haunted by the past.
It's like those walls, both literal and metaphorical, that they've erected around themselves. They offer protection, yes, but they also trap them in this cycle of isolation and fear.
And it's within that pressure cooker environment, cut off from the outside world, that their bond as sisters takes center stage. They only have each other, really.
Right. But it's not a simple bond, is it? It's complicated, fraught with this power imbalance that you highlighted. Marikit often manipulates Constance, their dynamic shifting between childlike dependence and this, well, almost sinister control.
And yet, despite that darkness, there's this undeniable loyalty, this fierce protectiveness, particularly from Constance. She makes a choice to stand by Marikit, even if it means sacrificing her own happiness, her own freedom in a way.
Like that moment you pointed out after the fire, when she admits to knowing about the poisoning all along. Just that quiet acknowledgement, the way you did before, cements their complicity, their shared burden, in a way that's both heartbreaking and, well, a little bit terrifying.
It's a turning point because from that moment on, there's no going back. They are bound together, for better or worse, by this horrifying secret.
Yeah.
And they retreat even further into their own world, their own version of reality.
A world that's been shaped by trauma, by loss, by the constant pressure of a society that doesn't understand them. And that's the irony, isn't it? The villagers, in trying to punish them, to force them back into some semblance of normalcy, only solidify their isolation.
And that's where some scholars, as you pointed out, see a twisted kind of triumph in their final isolation. It's like in rejecting the world, in embracing their own darkness, they've also rejected the expectations, the constraints that society places on women. It's a very particular kind of freedom, to be sure.
A freedom that's both alluring and, well, more than a little bit unsettling. Kind of like that last line of the book, which you highlighted. Marikit, looking out at their ruined world, says, "Oh, Constance, we are so happy."
Chills, right, every time. It's such a perfect ending to this story because it doesn't really give you answers. It just leaves you with this lingering sense of unease. Are they happy? Really? Or is it just a shared delusion, this world they've built on a foundation of secrets and tragedy?
It's like Jackson is challenging the reader, right?
Yeah.
Daring us to judge them, to decide if their version of happiness is valid, if their isolation is a prison or, well, a perverse kind of paradise.
And that's the brilliance of her writing. She doesn't shy away from those complexities. She throws you right into the deep end of these character psyches and forces you to confront the darkness, the ambiguities, the messy realities of human nature.
And ultimately, that's what makes We Have Always Lived in the Castle such a powerful, enduring story. It's not just a gothic horror novel. It's a reflection of ourselves, of our own desires for connection, for freedom, for a place where we can shut out the world and all its judgments.
Even if that means facing the shadows within. And isn't that a thought to leave you with?
It certainly is. So until next time, keep those pages turning and those critical thinking caps on because you never know what unsettling depths will be plumbing next.